What's going on, everyone? This is Mitch with SC Weather. Hope you are having a great start to your Easter. It's a very important day for us in the family, so we plan on heading out to church here shortly. But I thought I'd give you a little morning update on the weather for this week going forward and the potential for an active week, especially for when we get to mid to late week for the eastern U.S. It looks like the chance for severe weather, but the good news is we warm up. It's going to be a fantastic day across a lot of the eastern U.S. as we temps skyrocket into the 60s and 70s, just kind of depending on where you are. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit cooler still in the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic, but it's going to be a beautiful Easter Sunday. I know it started off cool in a lot of areas, but a lot of areas still had a frost this morning, but temperatures are going to rebound. It's going to be a beautiful day. So we're going to talk about a little bit what's going on severe weather-wise, so definitely subscribe if you haven't for me. Hit that like button, and thank you all for following along this morning as y'all are getting going this morning. So let's get going, kind of see what we got going on here. Temperature-wise, we're going to really rebound. Obviously, you see 60s and 70s. It gets into the 80s into Nebraska and Kansas and things like that. It's actually going to be warmer in the upper Midwest than in portions of the South as really the change and the pattern really begins to dominate and start west to east. So check out the temperatures really across the area as we get going Sunday. Then we get into Monday, it just warms up more and more. High temperatures, or when you see 18Z, that's pretty much around high temperatures. So temperatures get warmer and warmer, and it really becomes more basically consistently warmer. But you notice here, you got a little bit more cooler air here. That's an upper level low that's going to bring the chance for severe thunderstorms across areas of the Mid-South. So it's definitely going to be something that we have to watch, and we're going to continue to talk about. Temperatures begin to get into the 70s and 80s here ahead of what looks to be, I think, a potentially stormy late week and weekend, maybe for areas of the Southeast, the Deep South, and there's actually going to be the potential for a severe weather outbreak for Wednesday and maybe areas of Arkansas and Mississippi Valley, and then as we get into Thursday, maybe for the areas of the Mid-South. But how severe this is going to be still up in the air, especially when you get into Thursday afterwards. But I'll tell you one thing, temperature-wise, we look to stay warm. I think we're done with freezes for a whole chunk of the South. Maybe for all of the South and Southeast, Mid-Atlantic, honestly, too. Obviously, Northeast, you still deal with cold temperatures all the way through April and even portions of May, especially the interior areas of the Northeast. But they look to have consistent spring-like temperatures moving forward. You look at temperature anomalies. This is temperatures compared to average. You start to lose them colder than average anomalies, and we get into warmer average anomalies. And we begin to warm up, and it stays consistent all the way until next weekend. The upper level low, cutoff low, depending on where it's positioned, where it'll move, will really bring its own cooler air. So it really has the potential to maybe bring a day or two of a little bit cooler conditions, depending on where it's located across the Ohio Valley, the upper Southeast, Mid-Atlantic, really wherever it goes. It'll bring its own temporarily cooler air, but it won't last very long, depending on where it's centered and where it hits. But we're going to watch this. This is what we're watching. We're going to show you the GFS really quick. We're going to run through this. We get into Wednesday. Wednesday, you see this tail end right here. You got to flow out the south-southwest here, and a low-level jet kind of gets going here as you have a cutoff low or upper-level low that really gets going and gets lost in the mainstream of energy. This is with a severe weather threat for Arkansas, far northwesterns of Mississippi, western Tennessee could really get going Wednesday. Depending on where this goes, and we'll have to watch it, this is just the GFS, the threat for severe storms could shift more over to the Mid-South, maybe northern areas of the Deep South, if that makes any sense. And this area right here, depending on where this low goes. And then it really brings active weather as we get into Friday and Saturday for the rest of the Southeast. I'm talking about the Carolinas and Georgia. It just depends on what happens here. It's still a big question mark. You look at the Euro, and it really will show you the heights of this and kind of what's going on here. Here's that cutoff low, and here's the energy that gets going here. And when this happens here, it has a chance to bring severe weather, sometimes cooler than average weather, sometimes heavy rain, but when you see this kind of look right here, you know something is going to happen weather-wise, some kind of weather event. So you look at the Storm Prediction Center here, and you already have a slight risk at day 3 for portions of Nebraska, Oklahoma. This is going to shift. You go to day 4 through 5, you have even more of a threat here as we get into day 4, which is Wednesday. And then it gets probability is just too low, so we just don't know anything at this range. So anything kind of past day 4, so 5 through 8, days 5 through 8, which is Thursday through, I don't know, Sunday, it's just, we just don't know enough. This is a very big time wild card system. All cutoff lows are, so partially cutoff low, whatever it may be. But we do know day 4, right in this range right here. Let's see if we can stop it. Day 4, we have to watch this area for the potential for a severe weather outbreak for a huge chunk of Arkansas and then portions of Mississippi, Louisiana, and Tennessee. This will begin to shift a little bit more east as we get into Thursday, but that's a big question mark. What happens Thursday? But I do think as we get into mid-week to the rest of the week, there's going to be active weather in this area right here. Whether it's just scattered thunderstorms, I honestly think there's going to be a big-time hail threat as we get into the Carolinas and Georgia. I'll kind of talk a little bit about why here in a second, but for sure, this is going to be some active times here. You look at dew points, and like I said, guys, it's really hard to get super detailed with this until we get into the short-range models. But check out dew points. Look how they surge into the south central U.S. and the even Ohio Valley. And as they're doing that, a cutoff low, like I said, that low pressure we're talking about, brings more stable air, and here it gets going right into here. But you have dew points, higher dew points surging from the south right here, south-southwest, and it's bringing much more moist air, which is a component you need for severe weather, and then that begins to move and shift into the southeast, and real moist air, not crazy moist air like dew points in the 70s, which is really something that helps promote a tornado threat, but you have a lot more higher dew points and some decent moisture. You look at basically the shear right here, and you're going to show a good example here. Let me get this going here. I'm still getting used to pivotal weather. It is a little bit of an annoying sight sometimes. You back it up here. We're into Wednesday. You get into Wednesday around the daytime right here, and then look right here. That a little bit of a low-level jet gets going with the upper-level low, and right here at around 60, 65 knots, depending on where you are. So you're getting winds out the south-southwest. It's bringing a moist flow in here. It's going to be a little bit of a spin to the atmosphere. The tornado threat's still up in the air because the low-level shear is just not that great. But there is going to be a severe weather threat somewhere in Arkansas probably as we get later this week into Wednesday. And then as it gets going here, the threat shifts into Thursday for the more eastern areas of basically the mid-south. And you have some decent shear going here, but really the placement of this upper level low is still up in the air. Looks like it tries to meander back into the kind of areas of the upper Midwest and then into the Ohio Valley, and kind of gets wrapped more back into the mainstream of energy. But you look right here in CAPE. So we look at CAPE. You know, CAPE is basically convective energy you need for thunderstorm development. Let me click this. Geez, this thing is very sensitive. You don't really see much. You're getting into Tuesday. You're seeing a little bit of flare up, and then here you go. You're getting into Thursday. There's a decent amount of CAPE, not much. You got maybe 1,000 to 1,500 joules per kilogram. And then you get more of a building up through here. CAPE is a big question with this too, but you get into Friday, or Thursday evening into Friday, and you really get CAPE to begin to build here into the weekend. And you know, it might be really stormy across the deep south. We'll check it out. You need more things than just CAPE for storm development and potential severe storm development. But there is a signal down here for severe weather. Last thing I'll show you is just basically kind of the look that the Euro wants to show. So you move in here, you get into Wednesday, and check out the storms over Arkansas right into here. Holy cow, this thing is sensitive. Right here. So let's try to back it up. Right here, check out the storms flaring up right here, and this is just kind of the area we have to watch out for. We don't know what's going to happen exactly, but you know, check out the potential hazard tornado. Check out the hodograph right here. It's got a little bit of a spin to it, decent. Higher dew points into the 60s. Temperatures are marginal, but they're there. So there is a threat for storms, and there is a threat for tornadoes. And then you get going in time, and the threat shifts It's basically like a little bit of a tail that gets going here. You get a low-level jet that gets going here, but the energy might get kind of horizontal here, and you lose some forcing as it gets away. The energy kind of gets away from basically the energy associated with the low level, not the low level, with the upper level low. So there's still going to be storm threat, and I think there's going to be a potential for hail as we get into, say, the weekend for the Carolinas. Maybe a higher hail threat. It might not show up here. I just kind of picked a random sounding. But yeah, you know, significant hail, 1 3/4. So a little bit of a straight, more of a straight line on a hodograph. And check out the dew points. You got drier air in the upper atmosphere. To me, that kind of symbolizes more of a when I see kind of drier dew points with storm development, that's kind of, not always, but to me that signifies as more of a hail threat. You need good lapse rates to create more of a hail threat too. So we'll try to check this out. It's going to be hard to predict what thunderstorms are going to do a week out. So and the energy from this storm really doesn't get into the Carolinas and more of the southeast until late week, like Friday and this weekend. But I think it's going to be an active in mid to late week for everybody across the southern sections of the U.S. and the eastern U.S. So we'll continue to monitor this, and I'll have an update maybe tonight. And y'all have a great Easter.